There are a lot of memorable episodes in Gilmore Girls, but I think Kill Me Now is something that flies under the radar. It makes sense. It's an episode that's mostly about Rory and her grandfather golfing, a twin wedding, and some minor conflicts stemming from Lorelai's insecurities. But there's something so sad about that final scene that hits eerily hard for an early first season episode. A sense of grief, isolation, and acceptance of something that I think many people can, and probably would, relate to if they scratch a little more under the surface. It's that the hurt that we carry from our childhoods rarely ever stops. Why? Because we never stop being our parents' children. Hey guys, Haru here, and welcome to Footnotes, a more casual series of mini essays to the Marginalia channel. My bite-sized thoughts, if you will, on episodes that randomly pique my interest. So why not stay a while? Maybe enjoy a cup or two with me, and we can chat. I won't delve into the summary too much, but I'll give a refresher since I'm sure it's been a hot minute since most of us watched this episode. Lorelai and Rory are still getting acquainted with the Friday dinner rituals with Emily and Richard. The topic of golf arises when Rory talks about needing to pick a sport for Chilton. Emily suggests it as Richard plays, smoothly setting up time for Rory to spend even more time with her grandparents, something that Lorelai is not too keen about. Even more so when she finds out Rory did like golfing and instantly clicks with Richard. And from there, insecurities kind of spiral. Actually, this and the previous episodes made me forget what an emotional mess Lorelai was in season 1. A very different kind of mess from the later seasons even. The show was still finding its tone, and narratively, this kind of volatile dynamic with Rory isn't seen later on. Lorelai's a lot more thin-skinned and frantic. On guard, if you will. She literally projects her frustrations onto her daughter and uses a borrowed sweater as an excuse. But I think it makes a lot of sense in the story. Lorelai is naturally shaken up by all the changes that have been happening, especially with her parents. And it's this volatility that makes the theme of Lorelai's plotline pop. It shows Lorelai facing two main conflicts. One, she's a child who, after all these years, is still hurting because of her parents. And two, she's a parent who is still trying to keep Rory as her child. They set up an existential dread for Lorelai of sorts. While it's never explicitly stated, I like to view this as Lorelai briefly questioning the life she's made for herself. Particularly ironic because of how she told Emily how proud she was of it in the pilot. Lorelai always saw her life and her parents as the problem. The fact that she was controlled, the fact that her life was restrictive. But when her own daughter, someone she raised to try to be at least some version of herself, gets along with her parents so easily, it begs the question, was Lorelai the problem? Was her choice to leave a mistake? Then there's the side of being a parent. Throughout the show, Lorelai has this perception that being rich and snobby is something to look down upon. She's made no effort to hide what you can sometimes say is a shallow interpretation of privilege, especially the kind she had been raised in. And even if she says she doesn't think it's bad, she does say in this episode that she didn't think Rory would be that kind of person. But here she was, enjoying those kind of things with her parents who were those kinds of people. It's interesting how Lorelai shows two sides of the same coin. The fact that the parent-child issues can persist in so many ways. Lorelai will always be her parents' prodigal daughter, and Rory will always be her daughter that she places expectations on, even if she wants to be best friends first. The episode, much like Lorelai, does not give a clear answer to the solution. Instead, what we get at the end of the episode is Lorelai sitting and drinking wine, alone, with neither of her parents nor her child. And I think if it had been any other ending, it wouldn't feel as poignant. It reminds me of how they often set up Fleabag in her episodes when she's distanced from her family, alone in her own problems, but also critically so even. Despite the pain she's in, she'll eventually keep moving on. While the show will later explore and evolve the relationships between the Gilmores, the episode gives us an indefinite future, as well as reality itself. The dilemma of always being the children of our parents will never stop. And in cases where we cannot heal or resolve the issues in the relationship, what many of us do and continue to do are two things. We grieve what can never be, and we accept what we do have. This dilemma is something Lorelai will probably endure for the rest of her life. Despite the leaps and bounds made with Emily, for instance, Lorelai and her will still have rather intense fights. Look no further than in A Year in the Life. But much like Lorelai's nature, she chooses to persevere, and it comes from a place of love. Love for her daughter Rory, and later on, her acceptance of how much she loves her parents too. This obviously doesn't work for all families. But there's a prerogative each person has to make for themselves. Whether we can set up our expectations, endure, try to make things better, or leave for our own happiness. And though it wasn't in the ending, we do get a smidgen of hope in the episode when Rory and Lorelai make up, and Rory remarks on appreciating that Lorelai never put her in a tight dress. While we can't exactly change the reality of our relationships, many of us can choose to pass down a better relationship to our own children. Stay informed in the ways our own parents couldn't. Lorelai will never be a perfect parent to Rory, obviously, the same way she could not have perfect parents in Richard and Emily. But at least she works towards forging a better bond this time around, having a level of respect and understanding, as well as accepting when Rory diverges from the paths she wants. And if Rory learned similar lessons, maybe she could have an even better relationship with her own kids someday. But these are all things up in the air. Kind of like the show, all we can really do is press on. And when it's hard, sit down for a moment and sip some wine. Thanks for stopping by. How do you guys feel about this kind of format? Would you like to see it more? Maybe you have shows or episodes you'd like me to tackle in a vacuum. Let me know in the comments. And in the meantime, I'll be working on the next video, Writing in the Margins. See you next time.